Step into the grand arena where legends come to fight. Bodies clash and dreams ignite under the neon lights. Oh yeah. On Water Dave, he's the voice, calling every move. Amy and Justin Davis getting you in the groove. Oh yeah. Feel the energy, the thunder, as the crowd begins to roar. High-flying daredevils in a battle like never before. Oh yeah. From the turnbuckle to the mat, the action never stops. Talking wrestling takes you to the top. Oh yeah. Talking wrestling, it's a wild ride. From suplexes to body slams, we got it all inside. Get ready for the excitement, the drama show. Talking wrestling is ready to throw down. Oh yeah. Ooh, yeah.
That is not the Great Muda.
If that's not the Great Muda, I'll kiss your ass in the middle of the road and give you 20 minutes to draw a crowd.
Well, you know what happens when you second guess my trivia. So pucker up, asshole.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Talking Wrestling with Palm Water Dave. I'm Palm Water Dave, and joined with me as always is the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, the potty mouth herself, Miss Amy Vaughn.
You make me be a potty mouth. You ever notice the only time I do cuss is because of something you have said to me that just makes me, I think it's your fault.
It's been a year.
Exactly.
I was not wrong. No apology has been.
We've discussed that.
So we'll move on. And our guest tonight, I'm excited to have him here. I've known this man for almost 20 years. He was there when I started, and he's done everything that you could possibly do in the wrestling business. He's going into the Purge last week. He was the manager of the MPX Champion. Coming out of the Purge, he's still the manager of the MPX Champion, but the MPX Championship changed hands. We're going to hear all about it. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jamie Oller. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. And I, as someone who has known you for 20 years, it's hard for me to stand by and not do anything or defend you when these allegations are being thrown your way about how you force people to use certain language, because it's my belief that we're all in control of our own actions and our own thoughts and our own words. And so, maybe some self-reflection would be good. Maybe.
I'll take that upon consideration.
As you should.
I'm gonna light a candle for you, Amy. I'm gonna light a candle for you.
Please do. I told you, sometimes I feel like I'm working with teenage boys on this show sometimes. So,
well, you pretty much are.
Like a mom who gets frustrated occasionally.
Tonight won't be any different.
Yay. No.
Well, Jamie, I kind of kicked it off. So why don't we start?
Yeah.
Why don't we start with that, and then we'll work our way backwards. I just want to remind everybody that this is the graphic that we had for last week. You see Tommy Becker versus Demo, and there's Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
There's Jamie right there. And then I get to see this the other night. Let me see if I can figure out how to.
That was a good reveal. It's like,
yeah,
take that off and bam, there it is. Yeah, let's talk about it.
I don't double take very often after all these years anymore, but when I saw that, and I was like, because you tagged me, and I was like, okay. That's the last thing in the world I thought I was going to see.
take this how you want, right? As a compliment or as kind of a weird moment. But the first person I thought of tagging was you. And so like I immediately was like, man, you know what? Here you go. Here's something to talk about. Here's something to follow up from last week. So yeah. It's been a long time coming. It really has. I've been with Tommy for 7 years. He started in 2017, and I had a very interesting start to 2017. And so I took some time off. And when I came back, there were these two guys who I just saw so much potential in Tommy Becker and Ryan Remington. And immediately was like, give me those two guys. Let me help guide them. Let me help try to steer them in the right direction, try to pour into them, see what we can get going. And they both turned into phenomenal athletes, phenomenal wrestlers. And right before COVID, I made the claim that they were the greatest unsigned tag team in professional wrestling. And we were really set, I think, to take that and run with it and go everywhere. I was fully committed to breaking my I like to be on the couch rule, and we were going to go all in, and obviously the world didn't really care about those plans, but and then at the end of that year, I kind of said goodbye. Baby D and I had really began kind of starting our life together, and so I took some time away. And when I came back to take care of the TWC, like Demo mentioned last week, there's Tommy. Same gear, same music, same shtick. And he even came up to me and he said, man, I'm kind of embarrassed that you're back and I'm still doing the same thing. And I said, you should be. You should be. You're better than that. Right. And quickly after that, he changed up some things. He got a new hold, some new music, some new gear. But he forgot very quickly who was there the whole time, who's been there the whole time. And when you try to, give somebody advice after a while and they believe that they can do it on their own, which there's no doubt Tommy is a tough competitor. He's a tough kid. He can do it on his own. But if I'm willing to stick around and continue to help you out and continue to push you over this hump that you're kind of in, right? Like you were a tag team guy. Now you're the MPX champion and you're leading this ship. We need you to step up and be something more. And I was going to be there to help him. And it became very clear very quickly that he didn't really have that same vision. Meanwhile, here's Demo Diamond, 21-year-old kid with size, athletic ability, good head on his shoulders, eager to learn, and all the things that you guys found out last week, right?
Very impressive young man.
Yes. And I knew, like, hey, I'm going to keep my eye on that guy. I'm going to try to help him out. I'm going to try to be there for him. If he has questions, I'll try to provide answers. If he wants feedback, I'll try to do that. And then it just became apparent that, okay, if Tommy's going to kind of treat me this way after these 7 years, don't worry about it. I got something better, right? I'm gonna upgrade, and that's what I did. Younger, faster, stronger, bigger, and he's not going to be the same person in 2 years, and in 2 years from that, he's not going to be the same person. Claim that within 5 years he'll be on a television screen somewhere, right? Just because that the sky's the limit for that kid. And so yeah, when we had plan A, plan B, and plan C for Saturday. Plan A was send Tommy in a hot start. Demo knows he's coming in hot, hits a spear, 1, 2, 3. Didn't go that route. He kicked out at 2. Tommy's tough. The second plan, right? Plan B was just beat them up, right? You already have them. You got control. Beat them up. Put them down. Tommy's a tough guy. And so plan C was when the time came where Tommy's predictable offense of setting Demo up in the corner to break his ankle, I knew that was going to be the spot, and grabbed a chair from the crowd, put it on Demo's leg, told him, hey, break his whole leg. And Tommy hit the opposite corner, came running in, and that chair met his skull. And that is how you end a 7-year relationship. And that's how you begin one that's going to last even longer.
So, okay. Unfortunately, I couldn't be at the Purge, you know. When did you two break up? When did you and Tommy break up? As in, like, did you walk down the aisle with Tommy?
He just told you.
That's what I'm trying to make sure. Like,
yeah, no.
Demo knew what was going to happen.
Right.
Tommy thought the chair was there to help him.
Right. So
then that's when he realized that things weren't as he thought they were.
Right. So you broke up with him that way. Like, why didn't you just break up with him? Why did you have to go? Why do you have to do that?
You know, part of me wants to say that's an insulting question just because, you know, who are you to question? But that's fine. It's
asking a question.
I understand, but I think it just goes back to, you know, you judging me without knowing me last week, and it just seems like a continuation of that. But that's fine. Look,
I'm pretty sure I was pretty hit that nail on the head. I said you look like a squirmy manager, and you just screwed your person in the ring to go with another person, his opponent. I think I was pretty spot on, but that's okay. Please,
yeah,
I do want to hear from you.
No, that's fine. I mean, you know, the people that were there for those 7 years know. The people that were there for those 7 years understand. You know, you don't just walk away from a relationship that you want to end that badly. Mm-hmm. You destroy the bridge as you cross it. I didn't want there to be any question about, hey, you know, maybe it's just a fight. Maybe they're having a disagreement, right? Oh, he's with Demo now. Like, okay, you know, maybe down the line they'll get back together. When you do what I did in the public way that I did it, it's a statement that says this will never be again. You witnessed the absolute last time that the two of us will ever be on the same page, on the same side. It's done. It's over. And it was a statement, more so because this is what tonight's conversation is going to really be about. It's a statement that says, hey, in case you didn't figure it out by now, Demo Diamond is the guy. Demo Diamond is the future. Demo Diamond is going to be the next television superstar that comes from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And did it come at the expense of Tommy Becker? Absolutely. But the fact is, I could have went home. I could have stayed home. I chose to stick around for Tommy because I felt like he needed it. And quite honestly, if I hadn't done what I did, Demo would have still beat him. Just the way it is. Tommy was never going to walk out champion, no matter what I did. It just didn't matter. It was inevitable. So,
and what you just laid out is why, and I've said this about you many times, that, and it's cliche, but it makes perfect sense that while everybody else is playing checkers, you're playing chess. What you just laid out to us is you were three or four steps ahead. And it even goes back, and it's a funny story, but this, I'm gonna reiterate it again this week, is that when I became a referee and you were a manager at ringside, for one, and I was green, so he could really take advantage of when I was out there. But he would reach in the ring and untie my shoes. Jamie Oller is the reason that I bought the Adidas wrestling zip-up shoe where you couldn't get to my laces. But fast forward 3 years, and I'm the manager of the medics. Mm-hmm. and we're on a show in Garland, Texas.
Jackson Middle School.
And it just so happens that Jamie Oller is the referee. And I'm at ringside. And my mouth's watering. I'm going to get him. I'm going to reach in there. The first chance I get, I'm going to untie his shoes. I'm going to tie both of them. I've been carrying this around. And I reach in and I look. And he's got Velcro. He's got the Velcro shoes on. It's like somebody trying to get Jim Cornette with a handcuff, and he always had a handcuff key in his pocket.
A man my age should not have been wearing Velcro shoes, but you got to do what you got to do. It really is a perfect example of how I think, right? Not just in wrestling, but in life. You have to always be prepared. You have to contemplate different outcomes of the same situation, because you don't know what's going to happen. Things are unpredictable. So if you can be as prepared as possible, you can have, a response. And yeah, the shoelaces, you can thank APOC and Tim Storm for that, because they would relentlessly untie my shoes in matches. And I thought, someone's got to feel this pain. Someone's got to understand how annoying it can be to have your shoes untied in the middle of a match in which you have to be constantly moving. It is the worst possible thing that can happen outside of ripping your pants. That's obviously a little more embarrassing, but getting your shoes untied is absolutely annoying. And I wasn't going to deal with that anymore. So
it's a good plan. And I upgraded my equipment after that. So
see, you're welcome. That's called a teachable moment, right? You learn something and you adapt and you move on, and now no one else is going to mess with you because you got it.
So what was Tommy Becker's response to everything that went down Saturday?
He was unconscious. I have no idea.
So he has not requested a rematch or anything like that. I'm assuming that will be in the cards, right? Are you going to allow it?
So I may or may not be really close friends with the booker of Metroplex Wrestling, the man in charge, Richard Hill. And I may or may not have put certain things into play that would prevent that immediate rematch. And if I was Tommy and I was thoroughly embarrassed Saturday night, I would take some time off. I would take some time to heal, because he has been through wars. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been an easy 7 years. His body needs rest. His body needs time to heal up. And his ego is going to need to heal up because it was fractured Saturday. And so I've had a lot of people reach out and ask what happened. How did it get to this point? But Tommy hasn't reached out, because why would he? He didn't reach out when we were together. He didn't reach out asking me for anything when I was there for him. He's certainly not going to reach out now. So I'm not too worried about the ramifications of, what he may or may not want to do, because obviously I've got the bigger, faster, stronger champion. So I feel as close to bulletproof as you can be.
Well, you're sitting pretty with that guy. I 100% think that he's I mean, just the videos, I hadn't had the opportunity to see him in person yet. But I just couldn't not put over his running knee. That running knee that he does is one of the most impressive running knees.
So you and I talked a little bit off air earlier today about, a lot of younger wrestlers today will emulate what they see on TV. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? You want familiarity. You want your audience at a local level to recognize what they see on TV every week. I understand the logic, but there is a plethora of footage that's out there at your fingertips. I mean, you can literally grab your phone and within a few minutes have whatever you want pulled up. And to research a guy like Harley Race, who doesn't have a style per se. I hope it's okay to say this. I apologize up front, but his style is, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what it is. And that's timeless. It doesn't matter whether it's the 70s, 80s, or, 20 years from now. That is universal. It is understood in any language in front of any eyes. And he took what was impressive then and has made it that much more impressive through technique, right? There's all kinds of different things that these athletes do today that no one even thought about, right? Harley Race wasn't working on core strength in 1970. He was working on finishing that 12 pack before he made the next town. Probably more than a 12 pack, but he didn't care because it wasn't about that at the time. But Demo understands that modern technology can come together with an old school mindset and move set and make it so much more impressive than it was then. And that knee is a prime example of that.
Yeah, because a lot of talent today that try to do it, they're more concerned about it getting in the air for it.
Oh yeah,
he's more concerned about impact.
It's not about how pretty it is. It's about how effective. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Women could take a lesson in that. It's not about how great you look, right? It's about the impact you can make. That's a positive thing. I don't want anybody to misconstrue that. It's just, looks fade, right? Prettiness fades. A knee on a jaw doesn't.
Nope.
So
are you concerned that you might get that knee on the jaw? I mean, because eventually there will be someone bigger, faster, better than Demo that comes around. And, if you drop Demo like you dropped Tommy, for someone like that, I just think are you worried that you could end up on the receiving end of that knee?
Dave mentioned earlier that we've known each other for almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you a question, Dave, and you may not know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. In that amount of time, have I ever turned my back on someone? Have I ever stabbed someone in the back?
I have not. I was thinking that before you asked. I was trying to think of that one time that it bit you, and I can't recall that ever happening.
If nothing else, right, squirmy, whatever, if nothing else, I am loyal to a fault. Just how it is. There may be someone that comes along that's bigger, that's faster, that's stronger, but there will not be someone that comes along that's better. Because the second we discover someone who looks like they may be better, we're going to get better. If we discover someone who looks like they're faster, Demo's going to be working on his speed. Anybody that's bigger, he's going to be in the gym. Anybody stronger, he's going to be making sure that whatever he needs to do, he's going to be better than that next guy. And I'm not going to turn my back on Demo because I don't turn my back on people I believe in. And quite frankly, I didn't turn my back on Tommy. He clearly was done with us. And so I just made it official. So I'm not worried about catching a knee because I don't plan on doing anything that would warrant catching a knee.
Well, Jamie, let's talk about the event and the venue. I mean, I know you've heard the show before. You've heard how high I am on MPX. It's episodic. Mm-hmm. It's 50 weeks a year. You probably can count on one hand how many promotions across the country that are not on TV that do that. Yeah. It's very impressive. even before, because you mentioned Richard Hill, I think MPX is on and beyond what we did at PCW. But that was pretty much the same formula and a successful formula at PCW as well. But they do their thing very well in the same place every week. But now that we've ventured outside to a palace, the Epic in Grand Prairie, 2 shows in the Epic. How are y'all feeling about it?
So I actually missed the first show, and honestly got a little emotional about missing it because, you know, I think you could name a handful of people who have done more for that company, but it's not a very long list before you see my name. And it was a little upsetting that I couldn't be there. And the reason being is because you want to see this thing that you've poured so much time and effort into, you want to see it grow. You want to see it succeed in a level that it's never succeeded at before. And that's what happened at Destiny back in March. It was a defining statement that says, hey, our crowd will follow us. Our fans will travel to come see our product. And yeah, it's a 30-minute drive, right? But let's say you're on the other side, right? Let's say your drive to Bedford. Now you have to drive through Bedford to get to Grand Prairie. So now your drive maybe, went from 20 minutes to almost an hour, right? You don't know. But if our fans are willing to do that, it's the biggest compliment you can have in your product is when your fans will follow you. And that venue is everything I hoped it would be. It is a state-of-the-art facility. I would never think of Grand Prairie in a positive light before Saturday. It's Grand Prairie is the closest thing to Houston you can get in the DFW area, but it's got some nice places now, and they got an IKEA. I mean, not everyone gets an IKEA, right?
Oh, wow.
So
I've been gone for a while. I didn't realize they had that. See,
yeah.
And I heard they were going to the Epic. I wasn't sure if that wasn't, I don't know what they call the venue there now that has the concerts. And they changed the name of
Nokia.
it.
Yeah, I always call it Nokia Theater. Yeah, it hadn't been that in years, but
I had to look because I was like, surely are they playing Nokia? And no, I found out that there was. I didn't realize there'd been that kind of growth in Grand Prairie.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like before Saturday, and I've seen I've seen the things around, and it's like, yeah, it's all good and well, whatever, right? But they're screwing it up somewhere. But they're not. I mean, they're really not. They've turned their schools around. I lived in Grand Prairie for 5 years. It was the worst 5 years of my childhood. Hate that place. Hate it with a passion. But it's growing on me. It's growing on me big time because of the partnership that we have with the city of Grand Prairie, right? The mayor, the city council, the event coordinators and people like that. And you can just see that there is this investment in their community, and you have to applaud that because obviously they realized what a crap hole it was, right? And they're like, we got to turn this thing around, and they're doing that, and it's amazing. And that venue was impressive, and it's warranted for Metroplex Wrestling to take that next step towards the evolution of bigger crowds, bigger venues, making more money, getting more exposure. Because, otherwise, what's all this work been for, right? You mentioned the weekly shows. I try to watch OVW on Thursdays on YouTube. Al Snow must do a lot of drugs because that booking is all over the place. But it's a weekly show, same venue. It's been a weekly show, same venue for a long time. And Mick Foley was on there, and he said something to the effect of the only show that's not WWE or AEW that runs weekly. And I immediately got in the chat and was like, Mick Foley's a damn liar, right? Like, come to Texas, right? We'll show you. And That's a lot of history, right? When you go back to the territory days, when you go back to world class, right? Every single week, not just in one location, but they, obviously throughout the week there were other locations, but the Sportatorium every single week without fail,
But
right?
quarterly,
Yep.
Reunion Arena or Tarrant County Convention Center.
Yep. And that's something that for all the people that have positive outlooks and fond memories of PCW, there are only a few people that fully understand why it never succeeded the way it did. And that's because the people that were in charge of the financials didn't have faith that their fan base would travel. And it was a shame, because at one time PCW could have been something that took over more than just Arlington, Texas. It could have really taken over the South in a lot of ways. And there were a lot of guys that would have done it and would have helped. But, when you're not willing to take that leap of faith, right, it hinders your progress. And so thankfully Palmer, Athena, Richard, Ernie Pruitt, those guys know, like, hey, we have something that's special. We have something that's worth traveling for, and we have something that's worth investing in and taking chances. And that locker room doesn't miss when it comes to performing in front of a crowd that size. There's a lot of heart, right? There's a lot of talent, a lot of young guys, right? But they're eager to learn. They're eager to get better. And that locker room is why I'm still around, right? I could have easily walked away after the TWC folded because, all right, I was here. I did what I'm supposed to do. Time to go home. But that locker room, man.
Tell our listeners what the TWC was.
So I think that this whole thing was fictitious. I don't have any proof of that, but I think this whole thing was a sham. There were these announcements that started coming over about the TWC was coming, the Texas Wrestling Commission, right? They're going to start enforcing these rules because Metroplex Wrestling plays by its own rules, and we're not doing that, right? We're going to enforce how Texas wrestling is supposed to be. And Lance Romance is the director, and he is pulling all of these young, impressionable, talented, athletic individuals into the TWC to try to enforce their policies. But I did some research, and I don't think the Texas Wrestling Commission was ever anything. I think Lance Romance just made the whole thing up and used it as a backdoor way into MPX because he knew that there was some heat there at some point, right? And he needed a way to come in. And him and Richard have always had that love-hate relationship. And I think if he was able to come in and take over, that, that would be a very satisfying win. And eventually they reached out to me, and I said, yeah, hold my beer, right? Like, let me do this. And it was a up and down for a little while, but eventually, there's footage out there. It's not pretty, but kind of maybe took advantage of a low blow on Lance Romance and, threw some of those stiff right across the head. But so it eventually dissolved, and Demo was a part of that group. That's actually where I first saw him. Was the first night I came back. He was standing in the ring. He talked about the excessive violence match he had with Sky. That was that night. That was the night I came back, and I just thought, here's another young 20-something-year-old douchebag, right? Like, this guy's nothing. And obviously, we've talked about how that was obviously not the case, but there was a lot of good guys in that group. There really was. Kaimi, kid from Hawaii, absolutely just this raw, right? Like, young, hungry, eager, absorbs, listens, like he's everything you would want, right? Obviously Demo, they had Kari Wright. If you don't know who Kari Wright is, you're doing yourself a disservice as a wrestling fan. Go search him out. Go find clips of him wrestling. Kari Wright is someone who gets it. He is an amazing talent. And then they had
Demo was very high on Kari Wright.
if you can't enjoy a Kari Wright match, I don't know what you're looking for in modern wrestling, right? Like that's just, how I feel. And I turn away from a lot of modern wrestling, but I watch every Kari Wright match that I'm in a locker room for, because he is that talented. He kind of helped keep that group together for a while. And Day DeVille, who is now Mr. Arms, part of the Arms and Legs tag team. But Day DeVille is another guy. He's not as young. He started later, right? But he's still new to the game and is everything I just mentioned about Kaimi. That's Day. They're sponges. They are good people, right? Above everything else, they're good people, and you want to invest in them. And so while the group was certainly, what was the word you used to describe me last week?
Squirmy.
There you go.
Squirmy.
Squirmy. So while that group was certainly squirmy, it did have a lot of very talented folks involved.
I have a question, because you and I have known each other about 20 minutes. I know you and Dave have known each other for 20 years.
Yeah.
Tell me about, okay, I've heard where you were a ref. I know that you were a manager, but you said you've done all kinds of stuff. Tell me about that. Tell me about how you got started. I know you don't like Grand Prairie. When you were for 5 years, you hated it. But tell us about what got you involved in this, what other things you've done. Believe it or not,
Sure.
I'm interested to know.
I appreciate that. This feels like the beginning of a beautiful relationship. So I appreciate the olive branch there. So grew up loving wrestling. As a kid, especially today, you have a lot of options and you're constantly fed new things, right? To buy new toys, to have your parents spend money. And it works, right? So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, whatever it may be. Those came and went, right? But the one constant was pro wrestling. And that holds true today. Again, Dave and I were talking off air about it's the one constant, right? It doesn't matter what happens in your real life. It doesn't matter, right? Like, your old lady's mad at you. You had a stressful day at work. The boss is threatening your job. Whatever it may be. Every Monday night, you can turn on the television set and watch Monday Night Raw. Right? It's constant for over 30 years. And before that, it was whatever local promotion you had, you could tune in, usually on a Saturday morning, and catch professional wrestling. And you could lose yourself and you could forget everything that was going on in your life. And so growing up, that's what I gravitated towards, man. I wanted to see, the Von Erichs. Again, that sounds very cliche when you grow up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's the Von Erichs. It was the Von Erichs, hands down. Specifically Kerry for me, because that was the Texas Tornado, right? He, I don't want to say graduated, right? But he moved on from the territory and made a name for himself in the WWF. And I, to this day, believe he would have been in that Bret Hart spot had he not had the personal demons. I think Vince really wanted to, I said Vince like I know him, Vince McMahon really wanted that generational talent, right? The person that has history, that has family ties. Bret's a great representation of that. But Bret Hart is kind of boring at times.
Thank you.
He doesn't have that personality, right? Like people say, "Oh, Bret over Shawn." Okay, maybe, but are you watching, a 10-minute Bret Hart promo? I don't think so, right? Like Shawn Michaels is where it's at if you want entertainment. But Kerry was that guy. Kerry had the looks. He had the charisma. He just had everything. And I really think, like, I don't have anything to base that off of. There's never been a, something to wrestle episode where they talked about it. But I really do think that Kerry could have been in that Bret spot had he been clean, had he been sober, had he had his head on straight. But when you lose your brothers like that, I don't know how you manage. Kevin is a saint. Like, Kevin is an anomaly. Kevin should be studied, right? Kevin should be someone who is studied as how you process grief and you continue to move on.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that was
Yeah.
it. I mean,
And Kerry lost his foot.
yeah.
Could you imagine if they wouldn't have thought that that was a great shame, that if he could, how inspirational he could have been?
I hate that it was revealed to the public afterwards, right?
Mhm.
Like, that's a missed opportunity, and it's not to play on sympathy, and it's not to use it to your advantage. It's just to your point, right? How many people out there have had that happen and it ruins their entire existence because they don't know how to look at it any other way? And yeah, it could have been, huge. But life just chooses a different path sometimes. And so,
Mhm.
but fast forward to being a teenager living in Grand Prairie. There was so we had the NWA Southwest, talking about the territory, right? Like the world class and the things that came after for the Sportatorium, and then Ken Taylor with the NWA Southwest. Guys like Mike Fox, Red Dog said there was a lot of talent in that organization, and then all of a sudden PCW came on. Like, it was something that was being promoted. In between, there was a promotion called Extreme Sports Entertainment that had 2 whole shows, but those shows really hooked me in. I was like, man, I can get involved somehow, right?
Mhm.
And then PCW, $10 tickets, 17 years old, don't make a lot of money at Sears, so I got to find a way to get into this show every week. And you reach out and you say, hey, what can I do? And you start tearing up, or you start setting up, and you start tearing down, because they ran out of a gym. It was a gym 7 days a week that had to be transformed into this stage, right, to be able to produce wrestling for a show they were hoping to get on the air. And all right, cool, free labor, no problem, right? You do 4 or 5, 6 hours worth of work for a $10 ticket. Probably not the smartest, but I tell kids all the time, I'm like, you don't know what paying your dues is. They didn't have a locker room per se at PCW. It was a yoga studio, and I guess it wasn't yoga back then, but whatever. It was something to equivalent jazzercise, or I don't know, something. But they
Is this before?
Yeah.
Okay, because they were didn't they run out of the mall too?
That's where this was. This was
Okay.
the mall. It was the gym inside the mall. I don't know how that works, but they didn't have a bathroom. They had a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket.
Oh.
And that bucket has to make it through that room, through the gym, all the way to the outside dumpster without spilling. Who had to carry that bucket every single week? If it makes you feel any better, sometimes there were gloves. Sometimes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So and fast forward to Saturday night, when the show was done, I put on shorts, put on tennis shoes, went out and started immediately taking down chairs. And someone was like, why are you helping tear down? I said, because I don't want anybody to think that they're better than this process, right? You work at a facility every single Saturday night that does not need to be set up, does not need to be torn down. You have the most privileged spot that anybody in indie wrestling can have. You don't have to do anything but show up and wrestle. And for the very few times that we are outside of that venue, you are going to help set up and you are going to help tear down. I don't care how long you're there, but you're going to, because you need to understand this is part of it. You need to understand the process from beginning to end. And I'm very lucky that while I didn't have to set up and tear down a ring every week, that I was able to understand what that process is of transforming something into a presentable wrestling venue. And thankfully, there was a few people that thought I wasn't an idiot and that they could, start bringing me into other things. And I started learning how to do video editing for the television show, started learning how to run camera, run sound, audio, entrance videos, backstage vignettes. There was a lot of television exposure that we were able to be a part of. And I was learning on the job every single week, and throughout the week, right? That venue was open during the week, and there were editing suites, and there were, all this work that needed to be done every week. And so I was up there, 4 or 5 times a week, not including Saturdays, and just learning everything I could, because the first time I took a bump, I realized it sucked, and that my fat ass probably wasn't going to be able to do this, right? So I figured out other ways to be a part of the business, and eventually learned enough to be able to become a referee, and then eventually was trusted enough to become a manager. Been a part of God knows how many booking committees, been on every side that you can think of in wrestling. And I'm very, very fortunate to have that experience and that kind of resume. And I always tell people, the more you learn, the more you're going to be asked to do. So be careful how much you're willing to learn, because they will pull you into anything. I've been booked as a referee and I had to run sound. I've been booked as a referee and had to do announcing. I've been booked for sound and had to referee, right? So it's like when you can become a multi-tool player, when you can become a utility player, right? It's kind of sometimes frowned upon in baseball because you don't have a home, but it's like, man, if you can do anything, you'll always have a job. And, it's been a fun 23 years now. So yeah, I'm still here because I love it. That's the simplest answer.
What was your path in as a referee? Did you just reffing matches at the school?
No, I don't necessarily remember. I know that
Just get in and start doing it.
Yeah, so there was a thing in the summer of 2001. So they were moving from the mall to the venue that everyone is familiar with, on the other side of the parking lot. To this
day, I still think that's one of the greatest venues to watch professional wrestling.
I don't think we knew how good we had it. I don't. Yeah, I agree.
It's an old converted movie theater.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect. It was so perfect.
It's the closest thing to the Sportatorium you were ever going to find again.
Yeah. So they had a thing called Fight Win Survive, which throughout the years has been used as an attraction, especially during the hot summers when people just want to stay home in their air conditioning. But it was used there for the first time, and there was a concept for an all-around town match. And they asked me if I wanted to be someone who was found in one of these scenes and was dragged around as the referee. And that was kind of my introduction to being a referee, and being fat shamed on local TV by Derek Michaels. So yeah, that does wonders for your confidence at 17. Let me tell you. I have so much unprocessed trauma. It's fine. So if anybody wants to, reach out, and we can talk about hour-long sessions, but yeah, so I had that in my back pocket. I probably did it throughout, different training situations. We did a lot of, just stupid stuff before shows. Right. So there were things that happened, and, yeah, I think probably at some point someone was like, put the shirt on, kid, and it just kind of happened. And, Dave, I told you this off air. I don't think I've said it yet, so I'll say it here so everyone can hear. You were I mean, amazing from the very first time you started refereeing. Like, you have the perfect stature for a referee, first off, right? Like, you are the blueprint for what a referee should be, right? Physically. You are incredibly knowledgeable about what pro wrestling should be, and you get it. And you got it from the very beginning, right? Like, when I saw you run in for that Ric Flair thing, I was like, that right there is stamp of approval that this guy had it from the beginning and deserves all the success that you have right now. And so, yeah. So
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you saying that.
Man, I hate that you don't live in Texas, man. I really do. I enjoyed it while you were here, though. But yeah, so I being a referee is so crucial to what professional wrestling is about. It sets the tone for suspension of disbelief. It enforces these rules that otherwise make what we do stupid, Tony Khan. But it's something that is so crucial. And so that's a big responsibility. And if you can go in there and you can be reliable, I hated refereeing. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's messed up. But I hated refereeing. I hated it for so many reasons. But I got used more as a referee than I got used anywhere else, because being a referee is like being a good referee is something that there's not a lot of. And so when you find good ones, you're going to use them all the time. And so I went through many shirts and many pants and many Velcro shoes. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I still enjoy it every now and then, right, for the special occasion. I think the last time I did it was for the Jason Silver Memorial. The first year came in and did that, and it was a special moment. But yeah, refereeing, man, it's brutal. And if you can make yourself a good one, we're lucky that MPX has some really good refs. Travis Trueborn, who's been doing it for so long. He'll make the occasional mistake, but whatever, we forgive him because he's otherwise, solid. But we have this kid, I say kid, right? He's probably a grown ass man, Cedric, who I think could do amazing things. I think he could eventually land somewhere if he wanted to, right? That's up to him as far as how far he wants to go. And then unfortunately we have Carl Knight that we have to deal with, who I still to this day don't know who allowed that guy in the business, the poster child for meth addiction. But no, he's got new teeth. It's fine. No, I'll publicly state it because I say it very quietly. Carl has become pretty solid. Carl is a pretty solid ref. You can depend on him for where he needs to be. He is a good communicator, and he can be a lot of fun out there, right? No one is more fun to me to antagonize than him. So we got lucky. We really do. And I would say lucky, right? But we were fortunate to have some solid referees in our locker room.
Did you, when you were talking earlier about you and Tommy Becker's relationship, did you say you got married?
Yeah. So during that time, right. So we had the COVID break. It was kind of awkward. And during that time, my current wife and I got really close, and we both stepped away. She stepped away from in ring, and I stepped away from whatever it was that I was doing. And so, yeah, so I went and got married, and he went and did his own thing.
What was her name? Okay, what did you say? What's her name?
Baby D.
Baby D. Okay, that's what I was not familiar with her, and so I thought that's what you were saying, that you had gotten married.
Very, very good in the ring, whips the guy, and was whipping the guys regularly.
She still does. There's just one guy now.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, Jamie's not going over at home.
Not physically. She can't out-verbalize me. Like, I will annihilate her when it comes to words, but she starts throwing hands, I immediately start backing out. I'm like, nope. I beg off quicker than Flair. I mean, I just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't want any of that smoke.
Well, we already established that you're smart.
Yeah,
I'm
that is
telling
a
you.
smart move.
I've only had one black eye my entire life, and I talk a lot of smack. So clearly, I know what I'm doing.
Another part of your career. So for a while there, you were a cameraman for Channel 8, Channel 11, right?
Channel 11, yeah, Channel 11 News, yeah. You know, it's funny because it was a cool gig, right? Like it was a cool job to have. It's fun talking point on a resume. But you know, I look back on it. I hope I don't get emotional. My dad never understood my obsession with wrestling. He never understood the late nights. He never understood the multiple days during the week because I wasn't getting paid, right? Like he's like, what are you doing? Like you're doing all this for free, like they're using you. And I kept telling him, I was like, there's a payoff in the end. I didn't know that, but I felt like there was a payoff in the end. Like I'm learning. I got to be able to apply this somewhere. And when I got that job, he pulled me aside and he said, I take back everything I ever said, because the work that you put in all those nights and all those weekends for free got you here. And it did. There's a whole story behind that, but it got me that spot, right? And for 5 years, he did nothing but brag about me because I worked at Channel 11. And to me, it was just a job, right? Like I'm making money, surviving, like whatever. It's cool, paying for all my toys, you know. But to him, it was like this really big deal. And he said, you know, like it sucks because if he had been that encouraging like earlier on, right? Who knows what would have happened, but that kind of turning right the corner on his thoughts about that. So I look back on that very fondly now as something that made my dad proud, and so I hold that very, very dear. But yeah, and it actually helped. So Channel 11 had TXA 21, which used to be UPN, which is where SmackDown aired, and it's also where PCW aired. So there was history there. And so later on, I was able to get an introduction for XKO, which would eventually land on TXA 21. So it all comes full circle back to the wrestling business. But yeah, it was a fun 5 years.
Well, did you learn things at Channel 11 that you were able to apply later once you came back, or everything that you had learned up until that point really just helped you at Channel 11?
Both. The thing I learned about Channel 11 is it doesn't matter how much money you make as a company, you're still going to have to get janky on certain things, right? Like you're still going to have to use duct tape to hold wires together, right? Like no company or no production is immune to that, right? Like it's so like, I don't say ghetto, but like, man, I've never been a part of production where it's like, man, everything looks exactly like it's supposed to. Everything works. Everything's plugged in. Everything has a home. That's pretty cool. No, it's just like complete chaos. But when you're live on air, right, you have to get comfortable with chaos and you have to know how to navigate it. And a lot of live show experience, right, weekly live shows, even though it's not live on television, you're still live in front of an audience. You still have to make sure that you're not losing your audience during that time. And so live TV was no different. You have to make sure that you are producing quality television during periods of chaos. And so it was a good mixture of taking experience and applying it, and then learning new things and coming back and going, okay, let's do this. Saturday when I was rolling audio cables from the commentator's desk back to the board, there's a technique called over under, and excuse me, The theory is that if you roll any kind of cable with an over-under technique, you'll never have knots. You still get knots, but those are still things. Today I'm over under, and everybody else is like, wrapping around their arms, and it's like a freaking amateur hour. So there are still things today I still use. So
well, that's good. I know we were all jealous of you when you were at Channel 11 because you got to work with Christine Kahanic. And then I remember that you asked for you tried to get us some autographed pictures, and she shut that down, and we never talked about her again.
Oh.
I got one autographed picture for someone over the course of 5 years, only one time. The traffic reporter Teresa Frosini, Spoiler 2000, was a huge fan of Teresa, and so I said, hey, would you help me make his day on his birthday? And so that's what I got him for his birthday one year, was a signed autograph to Spoiler 2000. That was, she played along with it, which was nice. But you excuse me, you encounter a lot of interesting people, right? From reporters. I don't know if you keep up with it or not, but I think it's the NFL Network. There's a Cowboys reporter named Jane Slater. Jane Slater and I hated each other. I've never said nastier things to a woman than I did to her, because she would come in drunk. She would come in hungover. And granted, we're getting started at 3:00 in the morning, right? So she's just coming from the bar looking like a hot mess, train wreck, and I would just lay into her, you disrespectful, how dare you take this opportunity because you think you're better than filling in for traffic, or you think you're better than filling in here or there. You're not better, you're here, right? We used to just get on. I mean, it was bad, but very proud of her success as well, because now she's got a big spot on the NFL Network, and so it's cool to see, again, progress right from afar. But a lot of very pretty people on camera. Makeup does wonders. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. She became a big deal in DFW, Amy. The Ticket morning radio show used to do a segment with her, and
okay.
And then one day she decided that, I don't know if she wanted a distance from it. So
yeah, being in the public eye like that it can be scary, honestly. It can be, because you never know what people are thinking, or how they feel, or how far they'll go to meet you, or things like that. And it only takes a couple of bad experiences to really turn you off to the whole thing, and then you just
I think it got pretty crazy for her there for a while.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. But yeah, that's a side effect of fame, right? It's a side effect of being a pretty person.
I think when you're associated with the Ticket and the Ticket fans, which they call P1s, they kind of much like we've had with our wrestling friends, it creates an atmosphere that that they're not just on-air personalities, they're your family. And I don't think she was prepared for all the weirdness that came with that. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. So
Dave,
something to think about, Amy.
I was going to say, Dave, how do you deal with being the pretty person and the fame?
It's my cross to bear, Amy.
I know.
That's a heavy cross too, my man.
I was hoping for some more, but I get it though. I get it that's your cross. I get it.
I'm just going to take that. That's I've got an olive branch extended from Amy tonight as myself, Jamie.
And she hasn't cursed at all today, so clearly, we're doing something.
Do that an hour. She does that an hour or two.
Oh, that's when you talk about the Drew Damian Priest finish. Got it. No problem.
Well,
I understand.
Let me just say this real quick. So we were talking about what's your favorite museum. I have these cards, and sometimes we'll play Amy Ass just to look, to get to know each other more.
Sure.
And Dave said his favorite his favorite museum was the Smithsonian. And I said, which one? And he said, in Washington, D.C. And I was like, no shit. Which building? Natural history, aircraft. I was just like, so I have to watch myself. He makes me react, and I need to pull it back because when I asked which Smithsonian, and the fact that he said the one in Washington D.C., it took me by surprise, and just came out. It just came out.
I was 18. It was one big ass building to me.
I'm working on it.
When you were telling that story and you said which one, I was taken aback because I'm like, there's more than one. So clearly you're not alone, Dave. Clearly, like,
I was 18 years old. I saw the set of MASH. I saw Fonzie's jacket.
I mean, at that point in life, what else is there left, right? There's one Smithsonian.
Yep, that's what I thought. So
same.
I was 58 years old when I learned there was more than one.
That's the only reason why I'm on here, is to help promote education, literacy, whatever else, right?
That's important in pro wrestling because there's not enough of that.
Well, then so I wish you'd apply yourself. I wish you'd apply yourself harder so you know when it's the Great Muta.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So were you showing a picture of the Great Muta or like a video clip or like what?
What happened is that we were playing trivia, and I don't even remember what the question was. I'm sure Dave has it.
I'd have to go
right
look
there. But what happened is that when I had looked up the information, it gave like 50 names that the Great Muta had gone under. I didn't scroll over. I didn't look at all 50. And so I missed the fact that it was the Great Muta. It was not clear. It was not even one of the first or I figured it'd be closer to the beginning. That was my one mistake in 2023. Dave will not let it go.
So I just told her it's the Great Muta. You heard it. She said, that's not the Great Muta. I said, if that's not the Great Muta, I'll kiss your ass.
See, that's where you had to go.
And give you 20 minutes to draw a crowd. That's what I popped on.
Yeah.
Like the 20 minutes to draw a crowd. I'm like, that's a good challenge. I'll take that challenge.
Exactly.
I got the Great Muta's mask on my shelf. I've got a picture of him draped in belts. So,
I would have been more gracious if he hadn't done the whole give me 20 minutes to get a hold of it. And so after that was like, okay, asshole. Well,
I saw Muta when he was the super ninja, the super black ninja. I was pretty sure I was right.
See, to me, the Great Muta doesn't wear a mask. That's not the Great Muta to me. Like the Great Muta is
takes it off.
The green.
I meant like the one. I thought you meant like the one that he wore.
Oh yeah, like, no, this
Muto
is the one
or Muta, whatever. Yeah,
where you can see his eyes and it's.
Oh
he
yeah,
he takes it off.
Yeah, that's a pretty one. Yeah, no, that's the Great Muta to me. I mean, a lot of people talk about like his later years or after that phase of his career, but to me that was peak Muta. Like that guy was just ahead of his time. Like holy cow, what a great competitor. But I will give you some leeway there, Amy. I will say that my wife often gives me wrestling trivia. And we have discovered that the internet doesn't know what it's talking about all the time and can be absolutely wrong. Mm-hmm. And I have to correct the trivia answers sometimes because they're just wrong. So playing trivia based on an internet questions and answers could be tricky because if you ask someone like Dave or I a question that the internet says one thing and we know it to be false, we know it to be something else, it can get heated. My wife is a victim of that. So I understand.
And again, that was my only mistake in 2023. I just want that to be clarified. So.
That's a pretty good record.
I want to, before we get you out of here, Jamie.
I got a shirt out of it too. So let's just, I've got a pucker up asshole shirt.
It's the number one selling shirt at jumpinthepond.com. Now, Her dad bought a bunch of them, but it counts.
For me and my sisters and my mom.
Well, he was trying to take advantage of that 20 minutes to draw a crowd. Free shirts is a hell of a promotional tool. So I have seen that
Exactly.
shirt. It's good to know where it came from, though. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now you do custom action figures. Now I know you're a big collector. I've seen you do videos where your wife has bought you stuff, and she'll film you opening them up. And I
Yeah.
think I saw a video of you opening trading cards and just trying to find the ones you needed, and you're just eating them. But
Yeah.
you're making these custom action figures, and they're very impressive. I guess you're
Yeah.
modding them, I guess is what you'd call it.
Yeah, so I never intended really to be back in wrestling to this level, honestly. And so a lot of my social media stuff was really geared towards like my hobby and kind of showing off, some of the stuff that I've done and stuff I continue to do. And so my Twitter handle is very misleading, right? But yeah, I've been collecting action figures, since I've been watching wrestling, and it's just always been a passion, and it's always been something that I enjoyed doing. But over the last couple of years, I've gotten into Masters of the Universe, so He-Man, and they have a new line of figures that is inspired by the vintage line. And the beautiful thing about these figures is that they are like a pop and play, right? So, like for instance, like you can take the torso off the thing, right? And so, you can remove the heads with a little bit of heat. You can switch heads, and you can, do things like that. And then you can accessorize them, right? So, like here are Mean Mark Callis Legends Target exclusive. These were the chaps that came with him. That is an NWA tag team title that came with one of the TNA figures from back in the day. This is a cool little DC Lobo vest. And then we've got G.I. Joe wrist guards that are very reminiscent of the 80s LOD. And then you put a little bit of paint on the head to match the era. And that's what I spend a lot of my free time doing. And that's kind of where I find my peace, as weird as that may sound.
You're very good at it. I was looking at some of, not just wrestling, not just the wrestlers. I saw one on your Twitter that you had. I mean, you're putting the pictures next to them of who you've made, and like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and it's just neat how you do it.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Because you can, like, so for instance, this is a Solomon Grundy that I'm working on. It was a Build-A-Figure head that came out recently, and I found this like suit jacket that I thought was a little bit too small. So if I used it, the muscles on the arms would rip the shirt, much like Grundy. So I thought, okay, that might be kind of cool. But yeah, there's a lot of fun in hunting, right? Like toy hunting. And now I toy hunt for a very specific purpose: is, can I find accessories that will match this style of figure? Can I find accessories that match who I'm trying to make? Can I tweak this enough to where it'll fit and look like it belongs on, because that's another part of the issue, is sometimes you part swap and they don't necessarily fit and it looks off. This is a Scotty Too Hottie I just made. And
It's so good.
Yeah, so this jacket, it doesn't work the way I want it to, but it's close enough to where it's like, it'll do, and then those are referee hands, right? Because he did the 2 for the Scotty Too Hottie. See, it just kind of, this figure probably costs way too much money. I won't say but between all the parts, I mean, it, and the decals too is kind of the thing too, that can get expensive. But and then I'm working on a very retro style Harley race NWA champion, and there's a picture that I found that because Harley didn't wear black a lot, but I guess
Mhm.
early on he did, and he had like a black and yellow looking jacket. So this is a Wheeler Yuta jacket from AEW that you make to fit, and then I probably won't paint this. I'll just put an NWA belt over it, and it'll look like a early probably first or second reign of Harley race. So yeah, if I have the time, I can crank them out pretty quickly. If I am overworked, right, I tend to maybe one here, one there, but always working on something, always have something within reach, right? So that if I'm, if I'm working on something, I can always come back to what I have side projects. Like there's a Warrior work in progress, working on a Tatanka, this is a deep cut, but Farouk Assad working on, trying to get that down. So yeah, man, it's up there with wrestling as far as like the things that, I can find peace in. So.
Well, you're very good at it.
I appreciate
Definitely.
it.
I mean, there's just
Definitely.
the details. I can't, I'm envious because I could never do anything like that.
It's smoke and mirrors though too. Like I don't have a steady hand. Like I've got coffee hand. Like my hand's all over the place, right? So the most talented person I know on this planet is Sean Cowan, and I won't give any wrestling name or anything to out who that is. You're very familiar, Dave.
Yeah, because you mentioned it, and so because I would have called him by his wrestling name because I was going to ask you if that's something y'all share together.
It brought us together when we first met. We started talking about wrestling figures, and I can say this now because it's on the website, but he had a very big role. And when I say very big role, I'm going to give him full credit. But he sculpted and designed the new Rimco All Stars line that's coming out with Tully and Arn, not Tully and Arn, Tully and yeah, sorry, not Arn yet. My bad. That was a Freudian slip. I just wanted to see what your reaction was going to be. Magnum and Tully. Missing Link, Tito Santana, Bobo Brazil, Rock and Roll Express, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It's a phenomenal line. It's going to be in the same style as these Masters of the Universe figures, but he's just he's always been talented, whether it become to gear making, logos, painting, sculpting. He's just second to none. I mean, he really is. He has been a huge inspiration for me because I will send him stuff I'm working on and get his feedback, and his encouragement is huge for me because like, okay, cool, I'm doing something great, right? Like you just keep moving forward. I'm nowhere even close to his level, and I try to be good enough to where he finds it to be good, and I'm like, okay, I can live with that, right? Yeah. So
Jamie's not exaggerating. This dude's next level, and while Jamie's doing action figures, back in the day, Sean was sculpting statues.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
He'd do a Captain. He can do Captain America like you, better than probably anything Marvel's putting out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super excited about that Rimco line.
Yeah,
I ordered it day one.
Yeah, you got the poster too. So there's a guy on Twitter, if you look him up, Hal Haney.
Yes,
yes,
he does a lot of good work, and he did the design work, like I don't want to say cartoon, right, but the artistic look of each one of the wrestlers, and I had known of him before that. So when I heard he was on board with that, it was pretty cool because it was like, oh, you got these two really talented people coming together to create something that so many people are going to be fond of. And I can't wait to get those in hand. I think those are going to be so freaking cool. And the fact that one of my best friends on this planet really is responsible for it makes it even that much better. So
Richard Hill asks where my Dr. Venom is.
Yeah, it's a good question, Richard. We'll take a look this weekend at the GI Joe convention, Grapevine, Texas. I don't work there. I don't have reason to plug it, but that's where we're going to be Saturday. Yeah, Richard and I have talked about doing some Marvel Legends, GI Joe classified size and style custom figures, and there's some stuff out there. But like I said, you've really got to be committed to spending stupid money on a jacket or a stethoscope in an action figure size. It's a real thing, by the way. Probably costs you about $12, which is really stupid because it's like that freaking big, and no one's going to know whether it's there or not, right? But that's what you do because you want it to look the coolest.
I bought 2 4 Horsemen t-shirts from a website and paid more for the 2 little t-shirts to put on the action figures than I paid for the action figures.
Was it Ralph's?
Possibly. Does he do Ric Flair robes? And
yeah, there's not a lot of people that are it's super hard to do action figure clothing, right? So there's only a few out there that are worth anything. So that I know what you're talking about, because they've got some stuff that I've thought about doing before, and I'm just like, man, even that's out of my price range.
If you need a custom wrestling ring, let me know. My wife can get you. We can take care of you on that. She made me a. I don't know if
is that the world class in the Jim Crockett, the JCP up there?
Yes.
So I saw that world class. You did one of the tour shots, right? You were taking photos and stuff of your setup, and I almost reached out to you to be like, who helped you with that? Because that is super cool, right? To have those iconic logos and aprons and colors and styles. Like,
my wife did all that on her Cricut.
See, that is what true love really is. It's not about anything other than support. If you can find someone who supports you, no matter how ridiculous or how silly and goofy, whatever it is that you love, if they support you, then you know that you found the right one.
Oh, definitely.
And if they don't support you, run.
Oh, get this, Jamie. She made the Jim Crockett ring. That's an exact replica of the Ric Flair's last match ring.
Nice.
The logos and everything.
Heck yeah.
But at Ric Flair's last match, she was up there and she reached into the ring and got the confetti out of the ring. Like, I got a bag of confetti from inside the ring at Ric Flair's last match that fell. So I actually have the real ring used confetti sprinkled with Jeff Jarrett figure laying down, Flair and Andrade, and I found it like a generic referee, and I kind of look like a generic referee. So I just tell the grandkids, yeah, that's my referee figure.
that again, like I said, that is true love. And man, that's super awesome. I really do believe like that you have to find people, right, that you spend your life with. They have to be that supportive, and again, if you find someone who doesn't support what you love, I mean, obviously if what you love is like methamphetamines, like Carl Knight, like clearly you don't want to find someone who supports you in that, right? But if it's something you can find love and joy in, and you can find happiness in, because I mean, that's not exactly the easiest thing to find these days, right? So if you can find happiness in something and you can find someone to support you, great. If you find someone that doesn't support you, hit that person over the head with a chair and let them know that you're going to upgrade to bigger and better, like Demo Diamond. So take that and do with it what you will. That's life advice. You're welcome. You didn't have to pay me for that, Amy. I just gave it to you for free. Think about that. You're welcome. That's for your perfect record in 2023, minus, a great motor reference. But
that's right.
We went really over. I apologize. It's already 20 minutes over.
I know the guy that runs this thing. It's all right.
That's good. That's good.
Let's talk about because Richard said to plug the show so he could send you some dollars.
Nice.
But I got this right here.
Yeah, that's it. Well, if you weren't smart enough to tune in tonight, or you're not smart enough to catch the video on demand on YouTube, be there Saturday night. Be there Saturday night, because I'm going to tell the story of how we got here, And I'm going to tell the story about how this 21-year-old kid who has pulled himself up from the streets, that's not something that is used to, promote a gimmick. Demo came from Stop 6. And if you don't know what Stop 6 is in Fort Worth, Google it. Do some research, because Stop 6 is the nastiest, most violent area of DFW you can find. It makes Oak Cliff look like the Highlands. I mean, Stop 6 is dangerous. And he came from that, and he didn't let it consume him. He rose above it. Right? He is a product of what you can become despite your environment. If I knew nothing else about Demo, that would be enough for me to know that he is an impressive young man. But now that he is MPX champion, anybody in that locker room, no matter how talented you are, if you had your eyes set on becoming MPX champion, if you had your goals written down for 2024 to become MPX champion, you are going to be in for a very disappointing 2024, because you are not going to take that title off him. The only way he's going to drop that title is when he chooses, right? Or if, God forbid, an injury happens, it ain't going to be from a 1, 2, 3, and it ain't going to be from an I quit. It's just not going to happen, because you're not going to find anybody that's going to be talented enough to do it. And on Saturday in Bedford, on Twitch, right? You've got the link right down there, twitch.tv/Metroplex Wrestling. You're going to see a title celebration, and it's not going to be confetti, and it's not going to be hoopla. It's going to be facts. It's going to be a tale of what every fan and what every wrestler at Metroplex Wrestling can look forward to for the immediate future. And that's the era of the Shining Truth, Demo Diamond. So, yeah, the heat of the moment. It's going to be really hot, and there's going to be a lot of guys that realize that they're not built for that kind of heat. So if you start seeing guys not be on the show as often, it's because they understand that they don't have the opportunities anymore because they can't compete with him. So I'm looking forward to letting everyone in on what we've talked about here today. As far as how we got here, and hopefully it'll be the last time that we have to hear the name Tommy Becker. Will be this Saturday when I let everyone know what a disappointment he was after 7 years.
Well, we wish you all the best, Jamie. I can't thank you.
Was that good enough, Richard? Can I get paid? Can you Venmo me or Cash App? No Cash App me. I owe them money. PayPal or something of that nature. Like that would be great.
Don't Cash App me. That I owe them money is the most wrestling thing I've ever heard.
You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Hey, let's just say this is an impressive event poster right here.
Oh man, I won't give up who our guy is, because I don't want anybody stealing him. But we have
everybody that's been on has said his name.
Oh, well, see that they don't understand kayfabe, but that's fine. I will not stoop to that level. But what a very talented individual. He had the lights set up, so the second we came through the curtain, we just walked right over, took those pictures. I mean, that's literally moments after the curtain. I mean, we didn't have time to breathe. We didn't have time to prepare. Man, go away. I'm not sleeping on the couch. I don't know if you know this or not, but I run this house. I keep the lights on here, all right? So I will do whatever I want. I'll say whatever I want. I don't care what my actions are. How about that?
That's not what your wife just said in the chat.
First off,
well, then she's on the couch. And she's on the couch too. Oh, kayfabe again. Look at me.
I'm just saying. It's just terrible. Like, people like just try to start trouble, like tell them any sleep on the couch. That's awful.
I've got vacation coming up that I need to burn, and I'm gonna use some of that for one of my trips to Dallas. So I'm just not in on Friday night and out on Sunday morning.
Just enough time to see the kids, the grandkids, and some quality professional wrestling.
I got one in Josephine, Texas. I got one in Flower Mound. So it's like you're spending the whole weekend in the car trying to see everybody.
I mean, that's the that is the struggle that comes with being a quality dad and a quality granddad, right? Like you have to sacrifice for the ones you
I
love.
love it. I don't get to see them near enough, but I'm going to come spend a few days and I'm going to make it out to MPX because I miss you. Because I miss all y'all terribly.
Man, we miss you too. Bring your gear.
Oh yeah. I gave it up. I tried to give it up because I was going to sit out in the crowd with my grandkids, and it was easy the first year because of COVID.
Yeah.
But the first show I took those grandkids to, I looked at them. I said, "I can't do this, y'all. I got to go back." And I started calling Josh Newell trying to get booked.
It's something that I don't know that you can really fully explain to someone who's never experienced it. Like it's because obviously if you're a fan, right? I'm going to make an assumption here, so I apologize if I'm wrong, but my guess is you've been a really long time fan, Amy. Is that right? Like yeah. And so I'm sure that you can't remember a time when wrestling wasn't a part of your life. And that's just, on the other side of the curtain. Now take that and multiply it by 10 on the other side. And it doesn't matter how frustrating it is. It doesn't matter how many miles you put in and how many dollars you spend of your own money, because God knows you're not getting that covered. Like, it doesn't matter the sacrifices you make. It doesn't matter the morning after. I had the coolest shoes ever on Saturday night, and Sunday morning I couldn't get out of bed because they were so uncomfortable, and I wore them all damn night that my feet did not work Sunday. All worth it, because for that moment of time that you're out there performing in front of a crowd, there is nothing like it. I not to get sad, but when you see, entertainers, people who have performed in front of crowds their whole life and they can't do it anymore, and it gets to them, right? And it's too much to take. I relate to, like, I can understand that, because, man, you can't find anything like it. Artificial, it doesn't work, right? There's not a high, there's not anything. It's just, it's man, it's everything. And so, yeah, I was done. I was done too, Dave, I swear. And then, you come to a show to watch someone, and next thing you know, someone starts talking to you, and next thing you know, you turn a corner and you see a guy like Demo Diamond, and you're like, well, I guess I'm going to be here for a while. Right. Because it is what it is. Right. And to your point, like, you see it and you go, okay, I got to get in there, because I know I'm better than whoever else is in the ring. So why am I not doing it? Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a part of it too. Right. It's that ego and confidence in knowing that, hey, man, I'm better than the younger kids that are doing it today. So let me go show them how it's done.
There's nothing like it.
No.
There's not a time that I don't get butterflies before I go through the curtain. There's never not a time that I climb up on the ring apron to get in the ring it's not one of the biggest thrills of my life.
Yeah.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege to get in there.
Yeah. So
work with some of the most talented people in the world.
See, Amy, you got to get in. You got to become a valet, become a squirmy ringside companion. I don't know what. I don't.
Oh, Jamie, she had an opportunity. She had the opportunity to be a manager.
I was.
Ad Free Shows did Top Guy Weekend, and they put together a fantasy camp. They got to get in the ring with Dr. Tom and roll around and learn a few things. And then the booking committee of Eric Bischoff, Kevin Sullivan, David Crockett, Jeff Jarrett, and
Ricky Morton.
We're booking a show, and the crowd got to see every step of the booking. And then there was one girl that got to do the national anthem, and one got to be the ring announcer, and Amy got to be a manager. And I got to me and Brandon got to do the referees, got to coach up the referees, and Terry Weaver got to be a referee, but they booked a card from start to finish and crowned a champion. And I mean, they worked. I mean, so but what I'm telling you is that as a manager, she made you look like a choir boy.
And
I
Dave-
believe that.
And
Dave was the ref.
buried the referee. Oh, she buried the referee.
I did not. I
What
did
she
not.
did
I
was
still
she
got
probably
dirt on my neck.
there was so much built up animosity she had, and this was her one chance to be able to unleash without any fear of consequence. I understand that. That's why I've belittled Carl Knight for like at least the last 5 years, because like sometimes you just need someone to take all that aggression out, and then just afterwards you're like, oh, this will work. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
So
Um,
she got a taste of it.
Was that the clips that were in the show intro? I saw
Yes.
you tapping out somebody.
Yes, you don't have a clip of the actual me being a manager. That was with us when we got to work in the ring with Dr. Tom. Like he
I've
showed
never
us.
seen clips of that show, and I wish we did because I actually got to work with Ricky Morton.
Oh, man,
I
Ricky
feel like
Morton's
I have
awesome.
some. Yes.
That the names you mentioned for that booking committee, holy cow,
I,
that's impressive,
It
man.
was fun. It was fun to
and the
watch.
talent of the show: Adam Priest, Ray Fury,
Mhm.
Cruel,
Adam Jacobs.
Adam Jacobs, Cabana Man Dan.
Hold on, Cabana Man. What is it?
Cabana Man Dan was there, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jace, he was there.
I need to know who this is because that's a hell of a name.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. He
Cabana Man Dan.
Yes.
Yeah, throw him in your Google machine or YouTube. He's entertaining.
He's
Richard, we
very
gotta book that guy.
entertaining.
We got to book the Cabana Man Dan against Dan the Man from South Texas in a battle of the
Yes.
Dans.
I like it.
Yeah. See, that's that genius thinking. I'm just figuring out ways to make money. That's all.
And then
That's right,
Tiger
Kid.
Tiger
Yeah.
Kid became the first champion.
That's
was
pretty
fun.
cool. And this
was
was Top
very
Guy
fun.
weekend.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, what Conrad's put together, again, I say Conrad like I know him, Conrad Thompson, what he's been able to do with giving a platform for so many deserving legends to be able to have a voice, to be able to tell stories, right? I love these people that are like, that's not how it happened. Who gives a crap, man? Like, I don't care if 20% of the stuff that Bruce Pritchard says is true and 80% of it's garbage. Bruce Pritchard tells a hell of a story and is entertaining. And at the end of the day, that's all I really care about, is to be entertained. Like I don't live and breathe on factual things that I should have known
how he
about to
remembers
begin
it.
with. 100%. I've never told a lie, right? Because this is the single source of truth for me. And if it lives up here that way, that's how it happened, right? But yeah, the ad-free shows, all the spin-offs, all the people that have been able to do something that they love because of it, man, that's just it's a gift that keeps on giving, and people, I immediately turn on anyone that has anything negative to say about Conrad because I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care because
I love him. I mean,
well, and so I wanted to talk about this, but I didn't want to do it on air, but I'll mention it real quick. So, there was a message board for belt collectors that I got smartened up to at one
Belt
point.
Talk.
And yeah. And when Conrad first mentioned you, I popped because I'm like, I know that guy. And then I started thinking back of like, okay, well, if Conrad's a belt mark and Dave's a belt mark, it's probably how they met. And I was like,
It's
I wonder if
exactly how we
Conrad
met.
was on that message board, right? So yeah, it was kind of funny. And it was pretty cool just to kind of have that, X amount of degrees of separation where you can start to backtrack and go, okay, cool. Like if I ever got in a room with Conrad, I could probably have a pretty good conversation with them. But yeah, it's super cool. The phrase "pond water Dave," right, is now over. So like those are the things that have provided opportunities for people who deserve them, right, to be able to get them and be able to do something like this. And I think if nothing else, that I hope Conrad's legacy is that he helped legends tell their stories. And he helps very deserving talent.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And he can put you in a mortgage. So savewithbruce.com. He'll let you know what the finances are and what you can afford. I worked with them once. They told me to call back in 3 years.
He saved me. When he refinanced my deal, he saved me over $100,000 over the course of my loan. So,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it's real, and that ain't even the best thing that he's ever done for me. So,
Yeah, you can just tell he's a genuine guy. Like, I mean, you can,
when
and
people give him crap, I'm ready to climb the water tower with a can of paint to defend his honor.
I stopped listening to Cornette's podcast when Brian last went off on him about something.
Yes.
I thought it was distasteful. I thought it was petty. I thought it was unnecessary. If you have grievances with that, take them up with that person directly. Don't slander someone because they're taking over your podcast spot, right? Like, I just thought that was real. I haven't listened to a full Jim Cornette podcast since then because
he's the reason I can't. I don't enjoy it,
Yeah.
and he was way out of bounds. And Conrad's never said an ugly word about him, and he don't. And
that's all you need to know, right?
He wants everybody to succeed.
Yeah.
And if Brian Last doesn't like Conrad because Conrad outperforms him, then he ought to hate my guts because I've checked the ratings a time or two, and I was ahead of the mothership. So. Because I'm petty and I don't care where I'm at. I can be 163rd out of 250, and I'm looking to see who's 163 to 250. I don't care who's above me.
That's why you and I get along so well. That's it. That's it.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes.
I mean, 1:40. We could probably go 3 more hours. It's so good catching up with you.
That's not a lie. And I talk a lot, and I was really fearful of. I didn't want to take your show over. I didn't want to go too long or outstay my welcome. But I really appreciate the opportunity to come on. It's super cool just to be able to have a conversation with you, and now other people get to hear it. Amy, it was good to meet you and talk with you. I definitely wish you guys all the best success. In the coming months and years, and hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. And
I hope so.
Yeah,
you're always welcome on.
Don't tell me that I'll become look, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I'll be here every week. You already sent me the link. It's over.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Maybe, I don't know. I get bored on Tuesdays.
Do you want to stay for trivia?
I got nothing to do. Let's do it. Like, heck yeah. Maybe I can beat Dave.
This is a little bit different too.
Oh, okay.
The trivia that we're doing.
Well, let's find out.
It's time for Amy's trivia. Think you have the facts? Let's play and see.
All right. So what I did this time, and first off, I forgot to mention, Dave, happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you.
I wanted to say at the beginning. I don't know, Jamie, should I be wishing you happy Father's Day? Okay.
I have 4 dogs and 2 cats. They depend on me.
Dogs and cat parents count. Happy Father's Day to you, Jamie. So what I've done is we're going to do a little dynamic dad trivia. So I'm going to give you some birth dates, and I'm going to give you a hint, and I want you to come up with the dad and the child. So we're looking at first, second generations, maybe even third.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? All right, first one. All right, birth date is 2/25/49 of the dad. He was an MWA champion. Birth date 4/5/86. The child was Rookie of the Year for 2014. Can you name this duo?
So
An NWA champion that's got a kid wrestling.
I
Was born in
can
'86.
I can tell you that if I had to go based on 2014 Rookie of the Year.
Oh, I got this. I got this from the birthday.
Yeah, I mean,
that's Ric Flair in Charlotte.
there you go. I was gonna say. I was like, yeah, Rookie of the Year 2014. Like, I don't know Ric Flair's birthday. I figured you did, and the fact that you didn't say it, like, I was like, okay, well he'll eventually get there.
I've got a step kid with the same birth, the 2/25. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I
no,
think-
sure.
Oh
When
no, I was like,
I mean, and then I've got a kid that's got birthdays the same day Hogan won the title from the Iron Sheik. So
I love it. I
and that's
love
how
it.
he remembers the birthdays.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't
I was
hey, that,
actually going
if
to
I'd have
use
got
that
this
one
wrong,
as
we'd
a
have just shut this down.
yes. I was going to use this as like the example, like this is how you play the game. And then when you're like couldn't figure it out, I was like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
well, because there's only so many NWA champions who have had, you know, kids get in the business and
Mhm.
be good, right? Like
Yeah.
2014 Rookie of the Year obviously means you're doing something well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I knew Flair's birthday. That's what tipped me off. The birthday.
It took him a while though, Lance. I'm with you. I was kind of like 225.
Y'all know I'm an elderly.
Oh, that's right. That's right. All right. Next question. All right. This dynamic duo, the dad's birthday is 6/18/36, and he's one half of the AWA World Tag Team Champions. Their child, 3/28/58, and he is a Robindale High School alum.
Jamie put his hand up, so we're
Yes,
gonna let him
Jamie.
do this one.
Larry the Axe Henning and Kurt Henning.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Justin picked the wrong night to skip out on us.
You think so? You think he would have known any of these?
No chance in hell.
Yeah, he likes the early 90s, 2000s.
I bet he
He's
don't know.
younger too, so you know.
I bet he don't know who Kurt Henning's daddy is. I'm gonna ask him next week. 'Cause you know he's gonna watch it.
No, really?
No,
Yeah.
he may not. He grew up watching. I mean, he is. He's not even 40 yet, so like he's definitely early 90s, 2000 era wrestling, WWF all the way.
That's not an excuse. I never watched Larry Henning.
He likes Bret Hart.
That's true.
Oh, okay. Well, you could have led. You could have. Yeah, gotcha. Understood now.
All right, next question. So we got a dad. Oh, we got two children. Dad's birthday is 4/5/45. I like that. And he was a WWE Hall of Fame inductee in 2007. So child one, 4/7/70, he actually played high school football with Emmett Smith. Birthday 5/25/85, Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta.
That's pretty good. Dave, you know who he is? Come on, Dave. Don't make me be the only one answering these questions, Dave. Come on. I got the answer. I know.
We're doing
We might do more of these.
Kids or
There's two children and a dad.
one of them's Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do the reverse. Who's his dad?
Rikishi.
No.
No.
Sika.
Oh,
Sika. So the Wild Samoans went into the Hall of Fame in 2007.
and Dallas Cow. Oh, he didn't play football. It said he played football with Emmett Smith. It didn't necessarily have to be for the Cowboys.
It says played high school football.
Oh,
High school football.
But he was born in 1970. So this would have been like, 86, 88, somewhere around there.
Who's Roman Reigns' brother?
Rosie.
Yay!
There you go, Dave. Good job.
Well, there's a lot of them.
There is. That's fair. That's fair.
There's a lot of them.
That's
There
fair.
is.
I've studied that Samoan family tree a lot just because I'm like,
They
okay,
needed
hold
to.
on.
They needed to sell that thing that they posted when The Rock put that tree up there. I learned that there was more people in that tree that I knew about. Gary Albright. I would have.
Gary Albright, yes. I had no idea he was married into the family. That's what I told Stacy. I go, I was like, Gary Albright, and she goes, what? And I go, nothing. You're not gonna understand. But like, I immediately was like, holy cow, I had no idea.
Former NWA World Champion.
I'm telling you that you're right though. That would be a nice little handy little tree to have.
It sure would. I can't believe they didn't market that thing.
I'd put it right here where I have this poster of Tommy Becker. I'd put it right there, right over it.
I've got a space right above the monitor. It would be helpful.
You are funny. Question 4. This one's hard. Okay, dad-child duo. Birthday is 11580 or 68. Okay. Birthday's 11568. Clue is right to censor. Birthday 8/21/01. He was the NXT UK Tag Team Champion with Josh Briggs.
These are softballs, Amy. Softballs. That's Bull Buchanan and Brooks Jensen.
Man, are you reading my notes, JD?
You put the answers in parentheses. So here's what
I
I'll
got
say.
Bull Buchanan because I eliminated the other right to censor, but I wouldn't have ever got that his kid was in NXT.
Yep.
Yes, I did not know that either. But yes, Brooke Jensen is his child.
He's doing a gimmick right now where he's anti-HBK, and he comes in with like Brett was better and things like that. So your co-host probably would have had the answer for that one.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that one was probably the hardest one because I was like, I did not realize that. I don't watch NXT as
Our
well.
co-host is probably watching NXT tonight. That's probably what he skipped out for.
Man, I'm so excited though. Like I saw a tweet from Shawn Michaels. It was him and Frankie Kazarian in the back.
I saw that.
Yeah, I was excited. I was like, heck yeah, what's gonna happen? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay, next one. We have two more.
All
right. Daddy child duo. We got a birthday of 1/22/54. Horsemen. 4 horsemen.
I got this.
And then the birthday of 7/26/95. Impact Champion. What you got, Dave?
That's Tully and Tessa.
Very good. Yay.
What a I don't want to say tragic because she still has time to turn around, but what a waste of talent. Like she should be on TV. Like she should be right there with all the top women on TV right now.
Yeah.
It's weird how that played out.
Yeah, it's sad. I think she's been punished long enough.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like talent needs to exceed all, but whatever.
Next question. Last question. All right. Daddy child duo. Birthday of 2/8/55. He was a Dallas Cowboy. Birthday 5/27/82. Guinness Book of World Records holder.
Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Natty Neidhart.
That is correct.
Oh wow.
Yay!
This makes me feel so smart. I love this. I'm so glad I stuck around.
Natalia has multiple Guinness Book of World Records for most matches, most pay-per-view matches. I mean, there's a long list of female competitor. And yes, he did not play for the Dallas Cowboys very long. Preseason, I think, but he was the Dallas Cowboy. So
yeah, that's one of those random bits of trivia. Because so many guys played football professionally before they became pro wrestlers, and you just don't, you don't necessarily know about it because it's not really talked about it. But yeah,
well, and they may have been signed and they might have done spring, done preseason, and then they got cut and then they got traded to someone else. I mean, so that a lot.
Sure.
That's kind of what happened to him. So
yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. So that was just a different way to do a little trivia.
That's pretty
I
cool.
like that. Yeah, I like that. I thought that was kind of fun.
You have a fan. You have a fan now. I'm a fan of yours. I thought I was going to come on this show and, make Aaron Eagle's words look like a Sunday sermon, but I was wrong.
Trivia doesn't normally go that well because sometimes she gets in a mood and she'll want to know what the dietary supplements that Fritz von Erich ate in 1967 that would keep him regular.
Yeah,
and
so that was
usually Dave knows because he's all about Fritz, but I asked one dietary question, he gets all bent out of shape.
All about wrestling belts. Big Time Belts over at Facebook.com. Go to Big Time Belts, join the group, reach out to Muhammad Zubair. He can make your belt dreams come true. He can equip your champions. He's just so talented. He can take what whatever you want and make it, put metal and leather together, and you'll be second to none.
Does Tim have his belt
Ooh.
yet? Does
Not his
Tim
new
have
one.
his
No,
not
he's
his
got
new
two.
belt yet? Okay.
No, he's got 2 of them so far. This custom
like
North
that.
American was done recently.
That's pretty.
I don't have my glasses on. I can't read those 3 initials on it, but they went to Big Time Belts.
I don't have my glass. Ooh, this is I like this.
This
one.
is one of my
this
this.
one.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is giving Tim's belts and Palmetto. They're having a. I mean, I can't believe this is Arkansas right here. Arkansas Wrestling Association's Openweight Championship came from Big Time Belts, and it is a masterpiece.
That's
Yeah,
really
it is
cool. They
nice.
incorporated that flag on there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't send your champions to the ring with a toy with stickers on them.
Mhm.
I mean, high quality and low prices, you can send them out there with something that's equivalent to what you're seeing on television.
Mhm.
Russell L. Chew, the hair guru king, went to Big Time Belts. I mean, look at the detail
like it.
with the barber chairs on the main plate.
And then you've got the side plates have like the designs.
Yes,
That's pretty cool. I dig that. I obviously not for me, but like it's pretty cool.
Jamie Oller knows Tim Robinson.
Oh yeah. This is his belt.
yeah.
This is his belt.
You worked
I did.
AMW shows for him, didn't you?
I did. That was one of the shows where I showed up to be a ref, and they needed a ring announcer.
And
Oh.
but Tim had a dream that he wanted wrestling belts for his promotion. I mean, I used to make more money for renting him belts than I did for refereeing. And
Mhm.
all these years later, he's made his dreams come true about having the belts that he wanted. This is his junior heavyweight championship. He's got the tag belts ordered, and the
Mhm.
concept that he has for the women's belt is if anybody that ever attended the PCW or MPX will not see what he's got in mind for his women's championship without crying. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Ooh, I can't wait.
He can make
Cannot
he can make you a cast belt, this cast world heavyweight championship belt. He can make you that style of belt, the Big Time Belts. Getting married,
Oh yeah. I like
this
that.
couple, September 7th, they got it. They're going to take the plunge, and they're going to be lifelong tag team champions thanks
That's
to Big
cool.
Time Belts.
That's awesome.
There's Tim's heavyweight belt, the
Like it.
AMW Heavyweight Championship. I'm calling it now. AMW will run again, and I will make the trip from Mississippi to referee for them because I want to hold every one of those belts over my head.
Heck
And if they-
yeah.
And if they book Demo Diamond, he'll have that belt.
We'll make it happen. The Manchester Player of the Week gets to strut ass around campus with Big Time Belts. And this is the masterpiece. This is my favorite independent wrestling belt. It's probably one of my favorite wrestling belts right now.
Mhm.
The PCW Heavyweight Championship, Palmetto Championship Wrestling. There are so many layers to this belt. The colors, the leather. Look at that faux croc backing. Look at that relief piece on the main plate. The detail for that palmetto tree. The look at the raised letters. Big Time Belts
Yeah,
can do this
that's
for you.
super nice.
Fantasy football league's coming. Fantasy season's around the corner. Don't try to do one of those embarrassing bets where you're going to make your buddy do something stupid, or who wants cash only? Get you a belt for. I mean, I would play anybody's fantasy league. I'm playing if I'm getting to carry a belt for a year as a
Mhm.
result of it. I'm in. I'm going to learn how to play fantasy football.
So that's kind of cool. I wonder if it was a fantasy football league of Mitsubishi employees. Like, as you see the logo on the side, that would be pretty cool, right? Like if you have a common bond that brings your group together, and you have the logo on the side, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I was trying to make that top logo out too, but I did recognize the Mitsubishi. I think it's a great idea. I thought, the 5-star champion. So Big Time Belts can do all that for you, and we want to thank them for sponsoring our show. Big Time Belts, Facebook.com.
Fabulous
Yeah.
job. Appreciate them.
Excellent.
we've gone long. I almost forgot to do it.
I think it worked out perfectly.
Yes.
Y'all haven't even done Clash of the Castle. It'll take up all
We're
your
not
time.
going to.
I
you wanna
haven't
go-
watched it yet. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sorry.
But if
I
you
was-
want to hear what I thought
about
about
doing
Clash of the Castle, head over to the RAM Network. The RAM Network, patreon.com, RAM Network.
Mhm.
For $10 a month, we're doing all this bonus content. We got together with the TNA Top 10 and the Filter Free Popcast, and we are mixing and matching hosts, bringing you all kinds of bonus content. I along with Timmy C, do World Class Flashback. We're watching 1983 week by week. It's my favorite year ever in professional wrestling. Having a great time doing that. An audience with the Belt Pope. I just dropped another episode this weekend where we looked at the Mid-South North American Championship, that great big one.
Mhm.
Heck yeah.
Amy does the Power of the Pen with TJ Stevens.
Mhm.
They just sat down with Dave Pinzer.
We haven't yet. He is
they're
on our.
going to.
We are going to. We talked to Brian Solomon last month about his book on the Sheik.
Okay.
It was very, very fun. Fun to do.
Just put it
Brian-
in your mouth.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
put it in your mouth. It's cooking, restaurant reviews, food reviews. Andrew and Allison Faye do that because it's RAM Network is wrestling and more. That's the
What's
more.
that? What's it called?
Just put it in your
RAM.
mouth.
Just
Oh.
put it in your mouth.
Yes.
Oh yes, yes.
Cooking
It-
podcast.
Cooking and restaurant reviews. They go to they always get together, go to high-end restaurants, and they'll tell you what they thought about them.
Last when we went to Baltimore, we went to Jimmy's Seafood and
Gibson's.
no, we went to Gibson's in Chicago. Where did we go?
Well,
Oh my
Baltimore,
gosh.
y'all went to
The Italian
Sabatino's.
Sabatino's. Thank you. It
And
was
then
very good.
and then there's Hard Times and Beyond, a retrospect to Jim Crockett Promotions. They're just finished 85, going into 1986. Andrew and Dave and the HSV are doing that. And there's so much more on the RAM Network. Patreon.com/RAM Network. Go check
They're
it out.
actually bringing Portland. They're going to do Portland wrestling, which that's going to
Yes.
be kind of cool because I don't think you really get any information about that. You know, I mean, mainly because I guess for most of us, we're South, Eastern, but I'm really interested about the Portland.
The Portland wrestling I'm excited about.
Yeah, I
There's
think
not a
that's
lot
gonna
of
be cool.
footage. Like that's what sucks is there's not a ton of footage out there.
True.
Like most of that stuff was recorded off TV that's available. Portland
Mhm.
is crazy. Like you got Buddy Rose, Matt Bourne. One of my favorite promos of all time is when it was Buddy Rose, Don Kernodle, Killer Tim Brooks, and Roddy Piper, and they had all the belts, and they had to bring the wheelbarrow out with all the belts because they couldn't carry all the gold. Like, just great stuff in Portland. That would be a lot of fun.
Well, they have access to the library, so Portland
Excellent.
wrestling is going to be something that I didn't know. Amy mentioned it. I didn't know we could talk about it yet.
Oh
Uh,
no, 'cause
Hey, no.
I saw a
So-
tweet or something. So I mean, I wasn't
Well, it's
saying
Portland
anything.
wrestling's coming, and it's
God,
going to
I
be
hope
exciting.
Sorry if I blew it.
That's awesome.
So we've
Why
said
can't
it
we
all.
talk about it?
We've
Well, I mean,
said
why-
too much.
Why couldn't we talk about it?
I didn't know that it had been mentioned publicly yet.
But that's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't we be able to mention it? Anyway, I'm sorry if I messed up, guys.
I'm just a guest here. I can't be to blame.
All right. Well, for Amy Vaughn, wanna thank
Maybe
Jamie Oller
they'll
for-
keep me. I don't know. I might get kicked out of the group now. I keep spilling stuff.
we want to thank Jamie Oller for being with us tonight. 2 hours. We can't thank you enough. Thank your lovely wife for letting us borrow you for 2 hours too. And I'll see you sooner than later. I promise. But this summer,
Yes.
I'm gonna make it in for a few days, and we'll get
Looking
together.
forward to it. Yeah, looking forward to it. Amy, come along. You're fine. You'll fly in too. We'll have a whole party about it. It'll be cool. Yeah, see, something to think about. Thank you guys. I really
She's
do
always
appreciate it.
traveling to do something. She'll do it.
Yeah,
I'm going
awesome.
to Waterloo.
Y'all book Arn Anderson, she'll be there. Book Brock Anderson, she'll be there.
Oh no, he's too young for me.
All right.
Arn's too old.
but-
Anyway. I'm like
I mean-
right in the middle.
Hey, you're good. You do you. Don't worry about it. Nobody's gonna judge you here.
And y'all get out to MPX Wrestling this Saturday night to hear
Definitely.
Jamie tell y'all how it is, and he's gonna tell you, and y'all are gonna like it. You're gonna like it.
Better.
Fine. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you for watching.